It's time to sip that coffee, get your mind right, and vibe with the queen herself. We're dishing out hot topics, wellness tips of the day, and things that make you go, Let's get this palace party started.
All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to a midday segment. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. And I know we like to have a good old time as African Americans when it comes to line dancing and boots on the ground and popping fans and cooking out, but we got a problem and we got to talk about it. And let me preface this conversation first off by saying this is not a fear-based conversation. This is a proactive assessment. This is a proactive dialogue where I would just like to put what's happening in real time in front of you to wake some of y'all up and say, what the hell are you going to do? What the hell are you going to do? Because some of us are prepared and some of us we're not prepared. Some of us are prepared because we've been taught, we manage money well, we work hard, we saw it coming. He said what he was going to do. Okay, it's not a game. It is what it is. Some of us took that and we said, okay, let me get my house in order. Some of us are not prepared simply because we just don't make enough money, right? Even if you wanted to, you just can't prepare. Sometimes you just don't make enough money financially to be able to put yourself in a situation to win where you've been dealt a winning hand. And then some of us are ill prepared because you just don't care. You never took it serious. And it's neither here nor there. But today, I think it's a turning. I think it's a turning of the hand. And I saw earlier in the chat where somebody said, oh my goodness, we're not going to be able to rest in our 92%. No, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. See, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I'm bringing as much as I can by way of just the palace, because the entertainment part is good. Yeah, we gossip. We have a good time. We cover reality shows. But listen, if you are not proactive in making immediate, imminent changes in your life today, moving forward, if you do not sit down and put pen to paper and figure out a strategy for you, yourself, and your family, you will be left behind. White men are not here to save you. This is not a fear-based conversation. Nobody in Washington is thinking about how this is going to impact you, or you. If white men were going to reverse racism, if they were going to change it, like somebody said, I watched a video, they've had 400 plus years to do so. Is your 401k at risk? Absolutely, it's at risk. Absolutely, it's at risk. Yes, I see you, Prince of Peace. Let me see. Oh, my goodness. My mouse. Prince of Peace says, I'm definitely looking at things differently now. You have to. You have no choice. You've got to put your mask on first and then offer assistance. Because let me tell you what's happening. It's happening with or without your permission. The one says, I'm praying for the healing in the Black community. Somebody inboxed me after it was announced that I'm doing this video, and she said she took a look at her stock, at her I can't remember. She took a look at her account and sent me a sad face. Listen, I'm going to tell you what I would do. I wouldn't give a damn about no 25% tax punishment. What do they call it? Being taxed 25%. Because if it were me, I would pull my 401k as much as I could. I would take a loan out on myself. And then I will sign the document where I will pay myself back over an extended period of time. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is just an introduction of what's to come. So is your 401k at risk? I would probably say absolutely. The Dow crashed this morning. We're talking over 1,000 points. The Dow has crashed this morning because of decisions that are being made without your consideration in mind. Okay. Philly Vet said he's trying to crash the economy. I don't want to look at my IRSs and mutual funds. You have to, though. That's the reality of it. You have to. We can't run from reality. You have to. Go ahead and take a look at it. Because when you look and face the reality, now you're prepared to put something in place where you can make a move on your own behalf. If you've never been selfish before, now is the time to be selfish. Now is the time to be selfish. If I were you, and I'm not a financial guru, but I'm just telling you what I would do in this situation, I would pull my 401k. I don't give a damn what they talking about. And as a matter of fact, you should never rely on the information they give you anyway. I always do the opposite. I'm a disruptor. Yeah, leave it here for you to watch it. Nah, I think I can watch it better. Why would I take the risk of leaving my money with you and it being wiped away as opposed to taking it out and I pay the 25% penalty on it? Nah, I know. I think my money is safer with me. After all, I'm the one that's earned it. So my question to you all that are tuned in is, do you feel like your 401k is at risk? Thank you, Diego. He says, speak, queen. And this is not a fear-based conversation, but we've got to start talking about things that are going to impact you so you can pull up a seat to the table, right? On your own behalf, and not waiting for an invite and not waiting for someone else to solution. I am giving you what I would do in that situation. I will pull my shit straight on out. And if I can't pull it out, I'm going to take a loan out on it and I'm going to go put it somewhere where I can watch over it. Joanna Williams says, oh, wow, I just recently liquidated my account due to my age to avoid the taxation penalty. 59 and a half, they can't tax it, thank God. And even if they did, I would rather pay a tax penalty than to see my entire 401k savings, my Roth, just completely be gone because I have two narcissistic individuals that are playing with my life as if it's a video game. Okay, you got Itchy and Scratchy up there, Elon and Donald, Elon and Trumpy, playing with the American people as if it's a video game. We are not helpless. You are in the perfect position to make choices as it relates to you. Let me tell you why I say this. I'd rather go ahead and take my shit out before Itchy, Trumpy, before Itchy gets an itch and decides, you know what, we've crashed so much, I'm gonna make it so you can't touch it. I'm gonna make it so you can't touch it. We are dealing with the wow factor. We are in times where it's unpredictable. You don't know what's coming down the pipeline. That's the way I look at it. That's what I would do for myself. Not telling anybody else what to do, but I know what I would do for myself. Go ahead and penalize me with that 25%. I don't give a damn. I don't care, because I'd rather wake up tomorrow knowing at the end of the year I got to pay a 25% withdrawal tax as opposed to my entire savings being gone. I don't trust. This is the way I would be thinking, right? As it relates to me becoming selfish with my hard-earned money. I don't trust nobody else with my money. I believe I can make the right decisions with my money. So let me take what I can and I'll deal with it later, as opposed to waking up. And we've seen it before with the likes of Enron. We've seen people wake up and their entire pensions, life savings are gone because of sociopathic decision-making by men in power and positions. And I talked about it a while back. I said, Forbes did a study on very powerful men in C-suite positions. We're talking presidents of the United States. We're talking billionaires, Itchy and Scratchy. Okay, that's what I call them. Elon and Donald. Donald is Itchy. Elon is Scratchy. Itchy and Scratchy do not care. You're not dealing with people that have the empathy to really look at the bigger picture and say, how can this impact the American people? That's my belief. And because of that, I'm not the type to wait for anybody to save me, because I believe in putting my mask on first, and I'm going to save myself. And I'd rather withdraw it if I believe that my 401k is at risk and put it somewhere safe, right? Put it somewhere safe. Now, I'm going to say this because of the tariffs that were implemented. China and Canada, listen, they're not playing. China, Canada, Mexico, they struck back. And I'm going to play a little bit of a snippet for you. They're not playing. So how will this impact you? Oh, it's going to impact you. If you are a business owner, when it comes to chicken, food, all of that, they're saying, no, they implemented an additional 15% tariff on top of what we already pay. There will be a shortage if we don't rectify this. It will impact a lot of people. And the worst thing that you can do as a business owner when we're going through something like this, let me tell you, the worst thing you can do is raise your prices. Let me tell you why. You need to come up with a marketing strategy that will not price yourself out of the market. You cannot justify raising your prices because of what we're going through as an economy, because you will price yourself out of the market. People are losing money right now, and the worst thing to do is to increase your prices and justify, because guess what? Nobody's going to be able to afford you. So that's a whole different conversation. So I want you, as a business owner, hairdresser, makeup artist, barber, whatever, food truck person, the worst thing you can do right now. So, well, I'm gonna just go up on my prices, and you're gonna up yourself right out of business. Give me 1 second. People are barely making it. Food prices are through the roof. You heard the Uber driver. You heard the Uber driver, the one that I had the conversation with. He said he could barely afford ground beef. He could barely afford ground beef. Thank you. Betty McWilliams coming through with a 5-piece. She says, I lost over 10K in my 401k under Obama. I'm not pulling it. Crash under. Okay. That's why I said this is what I would do, right? I'm not telling y'all what to do. That's why I'm speaking in the first person what I would do. I would pull mine, me personally. Because I knew, see, you lost 10K, right, Betty? Under Obama. Not pulling it and crashed under Biden. Yeah, because you let it stay. It's no right or wrong. It's no right or wrong. I would pull mine. I'm not in a position to be trying to lose nothing. Malik Prosser says, pull as much money as you can and take the penalty. In less than 45 days, you will be broke if you don't take action now. Saving and checking accounts will not be covered by the FDIC. It won't exist. Brittany says, what are the steps to pull your 401k? Technically, you cannot pull it unless you are changing careers, you're leaving the corporation, you've been terminated, or you're resigning. Okay. If your intent is to remain with the company, then what you can do is you can take out a 401k loan for up to half of your 401k. So it just depends on what position you're in. Let me do this real quick because I need to put the link. I want to put the link in the chat for those of you to be able to come up. But let me make sure I share the link. Give me 1 second. Okay, Kim Jones says, I recently did that from my 401k, took enough from it and paid off all debt except my home. I paid myself back through payroll. There you go. It's like you taking out a loan from you as opposed to a third party, like using credit cards or things like that. But here's another nuance. This is not a fear-based conversation. This is just to get you brainstorming, okay, as it relates to where we're headed. We don't know. We don't know. But if you are in a corporation, we're seeing people get let go all day, every day with little to no notice. Does that mean you should be afraid? No, not really. Because if you're prepared, there's nothing to fear. If you're prepared, there is nothing to fear. However, it's important to keep in mind you are still dependent upon a corporation, right? And I don't know what their stock looks like or what their investments look like. But if we do not rectify what's happening right now with the stock market, with the tariffs issued against China, Canada, Mexico, it will impact businesses. It will impact jobs. It will impact your income. What does that mean, Queen Sheba? Do you have a plan B? Do you have a plan B? Do you have other ways that you can make money? Melody Cherie offers a property preservation class, masterclass. This will impact the housing markets. We will see foreclosures. People will lose their homes. People will not be able to afford their homes, the taxes associated with being a homeowner, right? Mortgage insurance, school taxes, all of that, HOA fees. The luxuries that come with owning a home. And I'm being sarcastic when I say the luxuries that come with owning a home, because until you own your home is actually a liability and not an investment. You know what I'm saying? It's actually a liability and not an investment. And Dave Ramsey would tell you that. But we have been conditioned to think that owning a home is a liability. Until the day you pay it off, you do not own it. You do not own it. And even after you own it, you have to pay taxes. You have to pay taxes every year, and not just one allotment of taxes, but there are several, depending on which region of the world you live in, your zip code, um, and just a few other items, right? Not a comprehensive list and examples I'm giving, but just some things you should consider. Have you figured out a way as a family, as an individual, as a mom, as a father, that you can literally make money should you wake up tomorrow and things have changed for your job? Like I said, Melody Cherie teaches a property preservation class, right? Where you go in on all these foreclosures and you maintain these properties on the behalf of the investors. The investors are the banks, y'all. They're going to need a lot of these properties maintained. I don't know where you live, but it's definitely something to check out. Something to keep your listen. I made over $7,000 cutting yards a month, just cutting yards, right? Throughout the region of Texas. That's a fact. So I know money can be made in different ways. I'm just kind of nudging you all to begin thinking through and being proactive as a people, being proactive as Americans, as opposed to waiting for people that are seated in places that do not have your best interest or appear not to have your best interest at heart. Don't wait for anybody to solution for you, because they are not coming to save you, period. Ruby Jewel said, "This is what I did February 1st. I did a loan and placed it in my savings account. I am so grateful for taking care of this prior to opposed to waking up half gone." Stacy said, "I was just thinking this morning, should I sell my stock? Why not? But right now, look, I mean, whew, would you make anything right now?" That's the question to ask yourself. Would you make anything right now? And as you begin to hear more and more talks of what's going to be done, don't wait until it's done, because then we're we're a dollar, what is it? A day late and a dollar short. When you hear of things like this happening and you feel that there may be a chance that your 401k, your stocks, your S&P 500, your mutual whatever investments are at risk, make a move before. That's called being proactive. But listen, let's get into it. Let me put the link here. Give me 1 second. I want to pin the link up in the chat. But then I want to show you the real-time reaction to what's happening in the United States of America. Give me 1 second just to pin this link. It's a lot. This is not a fear-based, let me say it, this is not a fear-based conversation. This is just something for you to consider as we navigate the next 4 years. Y'all, we ain't even a hard 90. We're barely a hard 90 into 2025. And shit is getting real. That's it. That's all. And we can be afraid to face the music or pretend that it's not happening, but it's going to happen with or without your permission. It's going to happen with or without your permission. So let's do this. Because, you know, the title of today's video, and this is something for you to consider. Hold on. And I'm going to say this out loud, and it may rub some people the wrong way. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The Dow crashed, but Trump's mental state is the real question. Trumpy, are you okay? Are you okay, Trump? Because the showdown between Trump, JD Vance, and Zelensky, the clash at the White House, y'all, come on. What are we doing? But before we get into all of that, let me just show you. Let me share a video with you. Here we go. Yeah, that's it. No, that ain't what I want to share. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. That's not what I want to share. Here's what I would like to share. If you can just give me one. Oh man, don't tell me I messed up. I did. Hold on. While I'm doing that, hold on. All right. Good morning. Welcome, Fruit Gum. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Queen. I'm doing lovely. What about yourself?
I'm doing good.
That's good. I'm glad to see you're having this conversation. And I'm also glad that you made sure to preference it that this is not a fear based conversation. Um, I believe that you can still rest in your 92%, but also part of that is being informed. And as we see the inevitable is happening, it's important for everyone in this chat and even pass the information along to just start being very strategic in where you place your money and how you're utilizing your money. If you're not someone that necessarily has a large 401k, or say you're someone that this feels like, oh, this is a lot of information, I would say right now, go into your spending habits and see what are things that you are overly spending on or that you can cut so that you can start to build your savings. With emergency planning, it says that it is recommended that you have at a minimum 6 months in your savings account to take care of your expenses. And if you don't have that, then it is time to get very strategic in getting that. So just wanted to say that, Queen.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. And I'm going to say this, some of us, some of you, some of them, some of who don't even make enough to even begin to have 6 months. $1,000, baby steps, Dave Ramsey's baby steps, $1,000 is better than no dollar. So I believe in starting where you are. 6 months is ideal. But if you're just in a situation economically where you just cannot and you have not been able to just because, $1,000 is better than nothing. And then the next step would be to think through, how can I put myself in a position in this world where I become more valuable and I add value to the marketplace, whereas I'm not in the same financial position next year that I am today? How can I add value? And the more value you bring to the workplace, the more money you make. So really think about what that means. But there's going to be a time that you're actually going to have to sit down, do the hard work of putting pen to paper, and think through where you are to set yourself up for success. A lot of people are uncomfortable doing so. Either you can do it on your own or you will be forced to do it at the rate, at the direction and at the rate we're going. That's just my personal belief. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Queen. I know amongst me and my friend group, we've started to look at there's plenty of certification courses online when you were saying about making yourself more beneficial to the marketplace, so that if there was a case where we ever got let go, or if say we had to change industries, looking into what are some of the on the rise needed positions and taking those certification courses so that if we have to do a quick pivot, we have the skill set.
That's a good example. I will say this, and this is not to push back with you, Fruit Gummy, but at the rate that we're going with the lack of DEI initiatives, I don't know if a certification is even good enough as it relates to people of color anymore. I will tell you one thing that's good: if you're going to pay for something that could be very beneficial to anybody, learn how to speak a different language. That'll up your game real quick, being bilingual. That'll up your game real quick, real fast. Let me do this. Let me go through the comments real quick. Coco and T says, I'm scared my rent just went up to 3K and they had the nerve to ask for another deposit. Never heard of that in my life. I would be moving. I would be moving because ain't no way in hell I would want to give anybody 3K and I don't have no type of investment, no type of equity. And now I'm not telling you, I'm saying I would be moving. You're not getting that off of me. Janice Christopher says, Queen doing it now, taking 50. Yes. Oh, hold on. Let me read it. Yes. Queen doing it now, taking 50K. Mine yesterday was four. Okay. I think you said 40138. I'm maybe that was a typo. Maybe that was a typo. I mean, I understand the 50K, but I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell what the other ones. I was gonna read it, but okay, so y'all must be arguing in the chat. Y'all must be arguing in the chat. So Coco and T said, does this mean the housing market is right. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I knew that. Yeah, absolutely. People cannot afford these mortgages. Yeah, people cannot. The housing market will crash. Absolutely. You've seen federal workers are being forced out of their jobs, little to no notice. People are being in positions, placed in positions where they've worked from home all of their lives and they had to return to work immediately. And we're not talking about people that were working from home because of COVID. We're talking about people that have had dedicated work from home positions for the course of over 10, 15, 20 plus 30 years, okay? And have had their entire setups where they're taking care of their parents or whatever and had little to no time to supplement elder care, child care, pet care. They may have medical conditions. They may be confined to wheelchairs where they have to work from home from their desk. Y'all, absolutely. It's going to be a great disruptor in the housing community. But the property preservation industry is going to be very lucrative for those of you that have the money to be able to make the investment and you know where to go. You know who teaches it. Melody Cherie, even if you did nothing but hire crews to cut grass. I just told you I made $7,000 a month, monthly, from having my crews cut grass across regions of Texas. And that was just one line of, what do y'all call it? Revenue. When we say have multiple streams of income. Yeah. Give me 1 second. All right. Let me share this. Y'all make sure y'all are nice to each other in the chat. Because I know this could, I'm going to tell you what I really feel. And Fruit Gummy, feel free to chime in. I believe what's about to happen, depending on how everything goes, what's being set up to me, and what I believe that's likely to happen is we're going to establish two dimensions, two demographics, the haves and the have nots.
Mm-hmm.
The haves and the have nots.
I agree with you, Queen. And I'll say, even to, what used to be the haves, they're struggling. Um, Six figures is not pushing like how it used to, depending on where you are on that. And so definitely take these gems that Queen is giving, because between the taxes and now the tariffs that are going to be placed, it's going to get difficult for a lot of people if you aren't strategic or putting back a savings.
Mixie Legend. Thank you, Fruit Gummy. Mixie Legend. Mixie, thank you for that great tip. She says libraries offer free Spanish classes. Take full advantage of it, y'all. You pay for it. Your taxes goes to that. So it's really not free because you've already paid for it by way of paying taxes in your local neighborhoods and your zip code in your areas. Libraries offer Spanish classes. Yes, we should always be thinking out the box. I agree with you, Village Girl, Village 99. We should always be thinking out the box. And here's one that I really like. This comment right here. Lynn Will says, I am pissed as hell. I invested to prepare for retirement in December 2024. I am selling my investment property. Yes, the housing market will crash. Let me say that again. Yes, the housing market will crash. Then I will move abroad. Listen, if you're in a position to consider moving abroad, even if you just want to go there for a little bit, consider doing so. The cost of living is very affordable. Map out how you can take those transferable skills over there and really make a splash in some of these international markets. Think about it. Because the money ain't money in America anymore. We're literally being set up and placed in positions where you're going to have to rob Peter to pay Paul, even with the lucrative, or what we consider to be lucrative income, right? The money just ain't money in. It ain't going, like, it's just not doing what it should be doing in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. I got you. Got you. Yep. Janet J says, if people thought that prices were high before, everything is going to be even higher. Right. If you prepare now, you're okay with it. But at the same time, at some point, things will become too high And in my belief, that's when you start to establish the haves versus the have-nots. All of these government-funded programs will be no more. Will be no more. That is the goal. So if you're an able-bodied person and for whatever reason you're having to depend on the government in one way or the other, you may want to sit down tonight with a piece of paper and a glass of wine and figure out your exit strategy from being so codependent on the government. That's not a dig. That is the reality of what it is. Ouch. Oops. I'm sorry to put it up there in your face, but it is happening with or without your permission. Give me 1 second, and I just want to share this screen, and then we're going to wrap up. It's just something that I wanted you to think about. I want to put it in your face. It's happening in real time. It's not a good feeling. But if you just take a deep breath, we can be proactive. Give me 1 second. Oh, the Real Housewife says, big facts. My sister retired at 25 from the Navy and moved to Mexico. She's living good. What part of Mexico? And how long has she been there? What part of Mexico? Linda Brown says, I am retired. Wasted a lot of money, wasted a lot of my savings when I was working, doing whatever I wanted to do. Now I'm at a point where as much as I want to do things, I have to save more, spend less, but make it work for you. Have you sat down and tried to figure out how can I make my money work for me? How can I make my money work for me? Because when we think about investments, a lot of times we think about the stock market. That's not the only way to invest your money. That's not the only way to invest your money. I can give you a lot of things, but then you'll say, that doesn't work for me. Have you really sat down and masterminded your own solution to better living? Here we go. Share my screen, and I'm going to share this with you. This one is China and Canada immediately retaliates against the United States and the implementation of the tariffs. I want to share that. Give me 1 second. Let me know when y'all can see the screen from the chat. Y'all, these people are not playing with us. They're saying, we're not going to allow the United States of America. We're not going to allow Donald Trump to bully us. You listen, you cross us, we cross your back. And who's going to feel it the most? The American people. Okay. Thank you to Latrice. Thank you. Here we go.
Let's get right to the White House. CNN's Elena Treen is there. So much happening, Elena, in just the last few hours. Give us the latest.
I just want to say that I'm playing this video for educational purposes to bring about awareness of what's happening in our economy in real time and discuss openly possible solutions.
That's right. Let's start with tariffs, John, because look, this is something that the president had threatened to do. He was moving forward to do it more than a month ago, and now it is here. It's something that still, even in the final hours yesterday, as they were leading up to this new deadline of this morning, people on Wall Street, people on Capitol Hill were still hoping, and certainly, of course, Ottawa and Beijing and Mexico City were hoping that the president wouldn't move forward with, but now he has. I'm just going to.
All right. She called out something very important, and I said it earlier. I don't know if you caught on. She says, he's been talking about doing it for over a month. One thing you can come to know about Donald Trump, when he says he's going to do something, excuse me, he's going to do it. So moving forward, that's how you can be proactive. He's going to do it. Here are the tariffs, Trump's new tariffs that have been implemented. China, 20%, Canada, 25%, Mexico, 25%.
I'm just going to break down exactly what these tariffs are. One is that we know that he has implemented the 25% blanket tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Those took effect this morning. But then he also bumped up tariffs on China from 10% to 20%. And immediately, we've seen some of these countries retaliate with tariffs of their own. China, for example, retaliated by announcing 15% tariffs on chicken, wheat, corn, and cotton imports from the United States.
All right. China retaliated. They imposed tariffs on various goods, chicken, wheat, corn. And let's continue because I have to pause it to make sure that I'm, doing the right thing.
States. They also announced a 10% tariff on soybeans, pork, beef, and other various goods. Canada, for their part, we heard Prime Minister Justin Trudeau say that they are going to have $30 billion or tariff on $30 billion worth of U.S. goods, and that they would impose an additional $125 billion tariffs on American goods by March 25th.
We're in trouble. We're talking almost $400 billion by March 25th. Will this impact you? Hell yeah, it's going to impact you directly or indirectly. Your food, your chicken, your beef, your eggs. Absolutely. And the number one, if you want to starve something, make the food expensive. Make the food expensive. Put the American people in a bind, especially when the president is removing federal funding for different programs for the less, we call them less fortunate. So let's continue. Let's continue. Give me 1 second.
All to say, look, it's unclear how the markets are going to be impacted by this, but this is coming at a time when already you have a very inflation-weary Americans, many of whom do not want to be thrust into this trade war.
We've got Vanessa Yukevich connecting us this hour from New York. Mark Stewart is in Beijing.
They are calling this a trade war that we are caught in the middle of as a people. Okay, you're going to implement your tariffs. We're going to implement ours. And eventually there will be a food shortage if we do not rectify this. This is not a fear-based conversation. As long as you have money, yeah, you can go out and buy steak and buy protein and continue to feed your family. But if you are in a percentage of 85 to 90% of Americans who don't even make enough to be able to face inflation, the inflation that we already have right now, child.
And Paula Newton has reaction from Ottawa in Canada. Vanessa, let me start with you. Let's break down what we know about these tariffs first and foremost.
Well, certainly. We know now that there are tariffs in place on Canada and Mexico, 25% from all goods from Canada and Mexico coming into the United States, and an additional 10% on goods coming in from China into the U.S. right now. And this is critical because American consumers get a lot of things from these three major trading partners, things like oil, food, electronics, and cars. And we can expect that prices on these key commodities will rise. And we just
food, electronics, cars. Think about all the electronics in your home.
Learned moments ago that the president of Mexico announced that she will be putting retaliatory tariff and non-tariff measures in place starting on Sunday. We will learn what those are. But
we don't even know the extent of how Mexico is going to retaliate. But she said it's coming, and we will get more detail this Sunday.
We heard from China, who is retaliating with 15% and 10% tariffs on agriculture exports coming from the U.S. going into China. And also similarly, Canada has put additional tariffs in place hitting agriculture products. And that is key for American farmers here because they were hit with retaliatory tariffs in 2018, so much so that the U.S. federal government had to provide financial assistance for them.
Damn. It's affecting the farmers, the people that are producing food. They've been taxed so heavily, she said in 2018, and now another one. We don't even know if they're going to survive.
Them. So yet again, they are taking the brunt of these retaliatory tariffs here in the U.S. And for U.S. consumers, this is coming at a very shaky time economically. Consumer sentiment fell in the month of February. Inflation is starting to heat up. And these tariffs bring a lot of uncertainty in terms of prices. And then consumers usually, as prices rise, they start to pull back. And that has made Wall Street here very nervous. You mentioned at the open there that stocks close, markets close, the Dow down by 650 points. Becky, wiping away all gains that were made since.
Any gains that we've made post-election is done. Any strides that we've made where you thought you were making a little bit of money as it relates to seeing the stock market trend in a positive direction is done, honey. It's done. It's been wiped out. I want to pause there and stop there. That's just a little bit. I don't want to overwhelm you with all of this, but I just wanted to touch on it really, really quick. Something to kind of shake you and get you thinking. You can't afford to sit back and watch it play out as it relates to your own personal life, your 401k. Your 401k, your retirement is at risk. And you know what actually crossed my mind? If the truth be told, what actually crossed my mind, I wouldn't play a weight game with Donald Trump. Study long, study wrong, baby, like they say in A Hand of Dominoes. I wouldn't, when it comes to him offering severance packages, should they come your way, I would probably be one of the first ones to sign up. Because now we know everything that he said he's going to do, he has done. When it comes to China, when it comes to Canada, when it comes to Mexico. Now, what do you think would happen to you if he's offering you a severance as a federal worker to take it or not, or be fired? I would take it. No ego, amigo. I would take it. There's no point to prove when you're dealing with the likes of a narcissist and or allegedly sociopathic individuals. You're not going to win. So you take your marbles, you put it in your bank, and you figure out a way how you can bring market to the how you can bring value to the marketplace. You're welcome. Patrina Winters said, "Thank you, Queen Sheba." Like, I didn't want to get too deep right now, but it's just something to wake you up and say, "Can you hear me now?" Nikki G says, "Can we get a financial person on the live?" We can. We can. But when we start to get into the thick of it like that, most of us don't. Do we really have, you get what I'm saying? The more time you wait, the more risk you take with your 401k and your investments. You see farmers are paying the price from an agricultural perspective from that dimension. All right, here we go. Let's see. Misha, 64 Cleveland. Thank you for the 5P. She says the trade agreement that Trump is overturning is the trade agreement he put in place. Oh my God. So basically what she's saying is the trade agreement that he's overturning is actually a trade agreement he put in place in 2018, 2019. The difference now is that there is no aid to farmers. Wow. Yep. Candy, let me see if I understand this. Candy says, as African Americans, let me see if this is correct. As African Americans, we have the higher degrees to beat out the mediocre and non-qualified. How? Okay, we may have the higher degrees, but are you being valued in the marketplace? Feel free to come up. Are you being valued in the marketplace where they're actually handpicking you, seeking you out, recruiting you for these jobs, these higher paid jobs? So even though the educational, and listen, I have high degrees. I have a master's in organizational psychology where I get in and I dissect and I assess the psychology, the behavior of people, groups of people, right? Let me ask you this. Are they beating down your door? Are you being promoted? Are you receiving generous promotions and raises in the workplace? And I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying that can only get you so far if people don't value and recognize the strengths that you bring to the corporation. So we can go out and get all kinds of degrees and certifications, but if you're not being handpicked, it's just a waste of money. In many instances, if the playing field is not equal. That's just a question. Ronnie0201 said, so glad I completed Mel's class and got into the property preservation business when I did. Me too. Me too. Thank you, Inez. She says, great information. Y'all, it's never too late to start. You'll be surprised at what you can do. You need to sit down, do a financial assessment. Somebody said they're selling their property. Somebody said that earlier. $3K in rent is insane. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's a lot for somebody to go up on an apartment. $3,000? That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. Okay. I know y'all are saying that you don't believe he's going to offer federal employees, but see, they have to put it in writing. You don't just, typically when a severance is offered, you receive something in writing. You sign it, they sign it, you accept it. And you still have 6 months or 3 months to change your mind, typically. Typically. Yeah. I'm just going through the comments. Like I said, I don't want to tarry too long. Adrian Wiley says some farmers were put out of business years ago about the DEI for the farmers years ago, but right now they're also being put out of business because with the what is it called, y'all? With the deportation of immigrants, the food is spoiling. The foods the crops are spoiling because there's nobody there to pick them. And I know there was a conspiracy theory on TikTok where they shared that also there's a bill that Trumpy, Itchy, and Scratchy are considering passing where you will no longer receive financial aid for your education. So that's why I asked you that. I can't remember who said that. That's why I said they're smart. Let me tell you something. People know. Don't think we're the only one that's up to speed on different people, different races, different places, and how things work. They're also up to speed. They understand that Black women are the highest educated demographic in the United States. So guess what? The talks are, let's cripple that, where you have to be able to afford your education outright. Because there's talks, allegedly, there will be no federal aid, no grants and student loans. Either you can afford it or not. So on TikTok, they believe, are they going to make America great by having people of color, Black folks, go back and pick crop? To me, I'm going to say this. We should have never got away from it. We should have never got away from it. We should have never got away from it. Lisa Love says, Queen, there is no federal severance. Congress has to approve spending. Governors have already told people not to fall for that. Our degrees don't matter. We can be double doctor degreed up, but it no longer matters to them. We are DEI, period. So there's a workaround. There's always a workaround. Let me tell you something. You just got to sit down long enough. It's like a game of chess. You study the board. What move would I make if I feel like I'm being blocked? You are never blocked. Let me say where you're blocked. When you don't take the time to figure out a strategy to make the next move. That's the only time you're blocked. When you don't give enough time and dedicate enough time to your own future to figure out what move do I need to make. You're welcome, Golden Life. She says, Queen Sheba, thank you for enlightening us today. This makes you take a long, hard look at just what you want for your life. Yes, that's it. We have these conversations weekly. It's just coming down in a different package because now we're forced to sit down and talk about it by way of, is your 401k at a risk? What, Miss T, help me out. 3K is wrong as F. 3K. What you mean? I don't know. Like, y'all gonna have to use complete sentences. So, I mean, I want to read your comments, but I need to make sure that I know what you're talking about. Yes, Goldie, thank you. 411 says, my household has many degrees from upper level universities, but let's be clear. My creativity and thinking out the box is how I've promoted myself and our innovative capabilities. We are not innovative enough. We are not creative enough. We are when it comes to TikTok and dancing and all of that. But when it comes to, and we are the biggest consumers. But what are we doing to take up space in the marketplace? What are we doing to take up space in the marketplace? Will we start to own a bigger piece of the pie? Lewis, I played a video for y'all a few months ago. It could have been 2 months ago. I don't know if it was behind the wall or I don't know if it was outwardly and openly. Louis Farrakhan laid out the game with the money and how the money is working and the strategy that they've put behind the money. They're going to allow you to make a little bit, but the end game is for it all to be returned back to them. Y'all, it was deep. 10-minute video I showed you. No fear-based conversations over here, just proactive strategies. Just proactive strategies. That's it. That's all. With that being said, I think we are good to go. I think I got everything. Okay, you said this. Hell, at this point, I don't even know that Hope. That Hope says donate to your HBCs as much as you can. Listen, if they survive, this is a takedown strategy. When they start to talk about removing federal funding, they're not just talking about individuals, they're talking about institutions, entities that they feel like have relied on them for handouts. Tough conversation, right? Up here, out loud in your face. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Yes, Butterfly Sugar says, I remember that video, Queen. It was very informative. And we're going to continue to do what we do over here in the palace. That's it. That's all. Our job is to leave you better than how we found you. That's it. That's all. I'll continue to bring the entertainment piece, but we gotta seal down. We gotta lock down. You know what I mean? We're still going to elevate and operate in our 92%. You can do all of that and be proactive. Yep. Here we go. Let's see. She says Trumpy's definition of a black job is picking fruit and vegetables. He said migrants have black jobs. Listen, and they may have, but how could you? Let's just say that becomes the reality. I can go from picking to owning the crops. No fear based. We should have the attitude, no matter how you try to. We should have an attitude of it don't matter what you bring. We gonna turn it to gold. We are maximizers. We did it for this country. We came over here and established the economy using our own hands to pick cottons. So it ain't nothing nobody can throw my way to give me what is it called? Shaken up, scared. Let's go. Let's go. We ain't new to this. We true to this. That's all I'm saying. And that's the attitude we should have. It's a game of chess. And if you truly believe that we are the most educated people on the planet as it relates to Black women, then nobody should be able to outthink you on the chessboard. With that being said, thank you for tuning in.